of just finding that space in the box at the right time.
But that's not an easy finish, by the way, because I think he knows that he has to go high. Because obviously there's bodies in the way and there's players on the line, but he knows in that quick decision where I have to go high and sort of like just toe punts it into the roof of the net. Really good finish.
That timing looked good, didn't it? You know, that knowing when to progress. That's an experienced player. Well, it looks like an experienced player, and if you can make that your role, you know, Frank Lampard immediately springs to mind, just making it his role to organise, be there, and then from that moment to time to kill, to time his run from 18 to 6-yard box, you'll get so many goals.
Okay, Villa are through. Let's get the thoughts from the Tottenham camp, though. Here's Ange Postecoglou with Sam.
Well, Ange, can you give us your thoughts on that match and maybe start with the first half in particular?
Yeah, obviously, disappointing we don't progress. It wasn't a great start. It's the last thing you want, but that sort of gave them some momentum going into that 45 minutes, and we really struggled to sort of get some control. Also had an enormous chance at 1-0 to equalise. Second half, we had to open up a little bit, which allowed them some opportunities on the counter, but at the same time I thought we got a better grip of the game and unfortunately fell short.
And why do you think you struggled in that first half?
As I said, we obviously when you go a goal down, it gives the opposition some momentum and some confidence into that, and we kind of struggled then to get a grip on the game. Ideally, you want to sort of try and wrestle control really early, and we didn't do that.
And you made the change at half-time, Basuma coming on. What did you say to the team at the break? Because there was more energy and intent.
Well, we're still in the game. It was as disappointing as the first half was. Like I said, while you were 1-0 down, we'd had a big chance to make it 1-1. So, we just needed to hang in there. And like I said, the second half was a lot more, more like ourselves. And our second goal sort of made it a bit more difficult for us. But I always felt we were a threat going the other way. And but unfortunately, not enough.
Yeah, was it in that moment that Rodgers scored that perhaps the game just faded away from you all?
To a certain extent, we still scored after that, and we still had some opportunities to create some more chances. Kevin had a chance, so we're always still in the game. But like I said, concede an early goal and then concede a second makes it hard.
Out of 2 cup competitions in this week, what does that mean for you all as a team, kind of going forward for the rest of the season?
Yeah, nothing really changes. We've got a couple of weeks now where we don't have midweek games. This group of players has done an unbelievable job for 2.5 months. Unbelievable job. Can't praise them highly enough for the effort they've put in. A real small group of players playing twice a week since the middle of November, and they'll get some opportunity to recover now. We'll get some players back over the next couple of weeks, and look forward to resetting and finishing the season strong.
And when you talk about resetting, is that looking significantly at the Europa League, looking at moving up the table in the Premier League?
Well, there's still very much our objectives. Europe's still very important to us. We're in a great spot there, and I said we expect to get some players back over the next 2 weeks, which I think is the most important thing, because it gives a bit of a rest and respite for the group that have been doing it for the last 2.5 months.
Yeah, how important do you think that will be for this team? I know you've been talking about the injuries and the depletion and having to play so many games. Could the next couple of weeks actually change fortunes?
We'll get some players back, which will help. Like I said, we had 11 first-team players out today. Take that out of any team for one game and they'll struggle. We've been doing it for 2.5 months, so we'll get some players back, and I think that'll help.
And does that take a toll on the players that are going out week in, week out?
Yeah, of course it does. You can see that. They're just going out there giving everything they can, but obviously, it'd be a lot better for them if we had some help for them.
Okay, I appreciate your time, Ange.
You know him. You've played for him. You like him. If you were to send him a message tonight, what would you say to him? Because I think you don't have to be an Arsenal fan or have a heart of stone not to feel for him at the moment.
Stay strong. It's a tough moment, a real tough moment, and you can see that he feels it. He wears it, with his heart's on his sleeve. And at this moment in time, he's being tested. He's really being tested. He's being tested in his beliefs. He's being tested. He's asking questions of himself. Of course he is. We all do in difficult moments in time. But that's where you need support. You need the club behind you. You need the team behind you. And at this moment, that's what they really need.
How much, now they haven't got midweeks for a bit and so on and so forth, how much is him with the players? How much is it his staff with the players? Where does he come into his own in trying to pick them up?
It's a complete collective. All of them working together. And by now, he's not a new manager. He's been there, over 18 months. He's well established at Tottenham Football Club. So that's his coaching staff. That's his personal relationships with the teams. That's the debriefs. The debriefs are so key. I know that in professional football, and I know how fans see football, and they think that people just turn up on a Saturday. But there's so much that's going on, and that's where the work comes in. They might have some midweeks free, but it's a time to rediscover who they are, because they're not playing the same football that they're practicing. Trust me, in training, they'll be bopping it through the lines, they'll be receiving it on the half turn. That is not happening out there at the moment.
But from a fan's point of view, we were they've been sitting right above the Tottenham fans today.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I think they shout at their players is move. Right? Move. To try and give them options when they have the ball. So is that the players? Is that coaches? Is that a bit of both? Because that's where their frustration was today.
It's everyone, and they're right, because everyone's accepted that Tottenham are be a team that play. All the conversations about, are they going to dig in 4-4-2 and grind out a few results? Okay, everyone's bought into it now at Tottenham. But to play proper, progressive, pressing football and possession football, you have to have movement. You have to have options. We've got so many options of Aston Villa players who aren't necessarily completely total football, but every single one's getting into their position with pace, with assertiveness, saying, give me the ball, if not, I'm going to take someone out of the way. Tottenham haven't got that. We were talking about young Archie Gray. Every time he got up and he looked up, Dion, you were feeling for him. Because he wants to play. He's been told by his manager to play. It's the way football's played nowadays, but there's just no option for him.
Well, you know what it is as well, James? When you are in the situation that these Spurs players are in at the moment, and the observation is absolutely spot on. There's no options. There's no options because the players that should be given the option don't have the confidence to have the ball in the positions where they can receive it, because they're not backing themselves. So I hate to say this, but we used to call it hiding. I don't want it, pretend, go into a position where you can't receive it. And that's what's happening at the moment. No Spurs player, and Sonny, who's their best player, is at the moment going through that phase as well. Well, he doesn't want it because he's having a good time. Alan Shearer said it in comms. There was a shot to be had from 8 yards out, and Sonny nudged it to his mate.
Bread and butter when he's on.
You expect him to shoot there. I was surprised. I couldn't believe it. When the shooter here was like, shoot. He's so good with both feet. Even change the angle and get a shot on that. But listen, we've all been there. I think everyone's, we've played the game, we've been there where we've had periods where you're not playing well. And at times you do hide. But then sometimes it's about just going back to basics. You stick together as a group. And I understand point that, but you stick together as a group. Sometimes it's not even about football. Sometimes you might have a week where you train well, because that's where it starts. And, you might have a meal together as a team. But it is important that, not just the players, the manager, the staff and everyone, they all stick together and regroup.
The other thing, sorry, Jane, Joe, because I don't know the manager, Ange Postecoglou. You do. Would he want his players? Back in the day, we'd have a team meeting, and the players would go, right, Gaffer, we want a meeting, and we will have a chat amongst ourselves. What's going on? Would he want the players to do that, or would he want the players to still be on?
It depends what they're going to talk about. If it's a discussion that he can feel it's a discussion about a mutiny, we feel like we need to play 4-4-2 and hit it long, that's obviously when you're going to have problems. But, being a senior player for him, knowing that every now and again you need to just say to the dressing room, can we just have 5 minutes? That's what we're thinking here. Where's everyone's head that you can give? We've all been in dressing rooms when we've said, here's the opportunity, I can feel frustration from you, you, and you get them out of nowhere. You get someone with who's very passionately got some feeling towards it, and it just starts to change things. But you need everyone on the same page, however that works, or whatever it looks like. That's what Tottenham need at the moment. You've got the fans pulling in one direction. You've got Ange fronting up, talking about the injuries. You've got the players on the field who know they should be playing, but they're not quite getting in the position to get the ball at the moment, hoping someone else does it. It's not a good recipe, and it needs addressing.
But you can sense the frustration amongst the fans, and you can also sense a confusion amongst the fans, can't you? In the sense of they're not quite sure where to pin them. I know Daniel Levy will get an awful lot of criticism, and there were chance of Levy out here. But when you're looking from the football side of things, they're not quite sure really where the fault is, and that's, I think, what makes it quite difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult. Listen, there's been a lot of noise around Tottenham, and obviously the chairman, the manager. Obviously, players have to take responsibility at the end of the day. The manager.
It's not Ange Postecoglou's fault. They couldn't pass each other out, is it? Really.
But then, I mean, you look at. But obviously with Tottenham, some people, you say that you look at the infrastructure, you look at the training ground and the stadium, and what a time to be a Tottenham player. Not too long ago, the Champions League final, if we'd have got over the line and won the Champions League, would everyone want that? Would be, trying for Daniel Levy to leave. But it's a difficult time, and the manager, everyone keeps saying about obviously, the injuries. I think when you look at not just the injuries, I mean players that will start. He's like starting 11 players. I think once he gets those players back and try and finish the season strong, will make a difference.
Son had 16 touches today, which was the lowest amount of any player who started on the pitch, and it is